Wendy from Wendy Patterson Art. I was going to be jumping in and doing some art with you very shortly. These two have left me alone all morning. However, as soon as I shut the door to do some recording, they've decided to come and have a visit. So for all of you that don't know, this little one is Chi and this little one is Izza. Two very different dogs. Okay. So I'll give these two a little bit of a rub and then we'll get in and we'll do some work with the July art sampler. I'll be back soon. Okay, well, I'm back again. Chi's run away, so it's a little bit quieter, but I still have little Izza with me. So every now and then you might see a little black head pop up on the desk for a rub because I'm not giving her some attention. So based on a little bit of feedback, what I'm going to be doing today is that while you've been watching my 100-day art challenge, today for everyone that buys the art sampler box, I'm just going to give a bit more of a demonstration on how to actually use the Shimmer Dust. So I've got a few different colours of the Shimmer Dust, and as I've explained probably in the earlier video, that all of the colours are slightly different from the powders, so they can be a little bit deceptive at times. So I've just put the powders out, just mixed them up with a little bit of water. As you can see, this one is dry from using it the last couple of days, but all I need to do is activate it with water again. Sadly the cameras just aren't picking it up. You might see it every now and then, but the reason why they're called Shimmer Dust is they've got a great shimmer in them. So when they actually dry on the paper, in the videos it's just not picking it up in my actual art journal books, but it's got a fabulous shimmer. The quality of the pigment is quite nice, so it'll vary on depending on how much water you add. So these were part of my watercolour collection, paintbrushes. I've just put inks on there now because the quality of the brush stained with these pigments, it's going to affect that for watercolour, but I'll still use them for primarily more of these and inks in general. So I've got 2 jars of water out, not to be confused with a cup of tea. We might shift that. It's been many a time where I've had a really good cup of tea and it's ended up with some form of paint or ink in it. So with my paintbrushes, I always wet that before I start. I've got some blotting paper that's been previously used. I like to keep the blotting papers. I'll end up using those for some art projects. So I'm going to do, to start with, is just a simple leaf pattern. A lot of the time it just comes down to how much pressure you're actually going to be putting on the actual nib of the brush. So as I said, I'm going to wet that. Now I'm just going to reactivate the green just with a bit of water, and I think from memory that one might be the Paris. So the powder is that nice bright yellow. Once you activate it with water, it actually turns out green. So first of all, I'm just going to use brush, just a light tip, and just draw a stem. As you can see, it's not very even. I'm not minding. I've put a tape around the edge, and you can see that I've actually used it a few times. It gets better after you use it at least once or twice. When you actually are using it, it's not going to lift up on the paper. I always try to remove a bit of the stickiness so it doesn't rip. So I'm just pushing down, and as I go I'm just lifting up. So once again, pushing down and just lifting up. So I'm going to go through and do this with each leaf. So I'm just making these a little bit broader. find with what I'm doing with the 100 Red project is very therapeutic. It's very relaxing, and just learning so much working with different inks. I like adding just a little bit of extra ink just so it's not just one bland colour. So we'll do a couple of different styles of leaves here shortly. So I'm just going to speed up this, finishing off this leaf, and then we're going to add some further leaves. So I've finished drawing that, and you can see there that it's got just slightly darker colours in there. I've left little white gaps in the leaves. So I'm picking up, this is now the navy. I'm just going to bring and I think I'm going to make a bit of a fern here. So once again it's just pushing down and lifting up so you get that leaf-like pattern. As I'm doing, I'm almost curling the brush at the same time, so just rolling it in my fingers. It's a bit darker, it's okay, we'll come and fix that up. So you can be creative. I'll bring another one coming down from the top. So this one will have it on leaves on both sides. Smaller leaves on this side. Pick up the darker green, which was the Lush. I'm just going to add a little bit more water with that. This time I'm just going to bring the brush down. Once again it's applying pressure and then lifting back up. So the round brushes, which this one is the best for creating these leaves. It's got that nice point. So you can get very creative with your pages and just continue to add layers on top. They don't have to come from the one direction all the time. So just going to add them just in different segments. I like using a couple of different colours. Sometimes just for a bit of contrast. So I'm just going to dry that section off and then I'll add another layer on top. So I'm just going to add the yellow, which is the sunflower. I do like how it's just reactivating with some of the colours and just drawing a little bit of that colour back into the one I'm putting down. So if you're painting with acrylics, you'll actually find once acrylics dry, you can paint over top of it without much concern. With these watercolours, you can add layers. They do bleed a little bit, but I'm just finding that with the colour blast, you can see from what I'm doing here that even with them being nice and dry, they are quite reactive with the colours that are already down on the paper. Just adding just a few leaves here and there, just to fill gaps. Just with the different colours. What I might also do is just add a little bit of splatter over top just to fill some of that white negative space. So I'm going to dry this off and then I'll add the splatter over top. I'll use the bigger brush that we got in the art sampler box for this month. Pick up a bit of yellow and splatter this down. Times I think that a painting just isn't quite complete unless I have got some splatter down. Sometimes I might go overboard with it. Sometimes it just gives that final little touch that you need. Even though I haven't used it in the plant, I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that red. I think that is the amber. Last but not least, I'm going to add a little bit of the midnight, which is a blackish in colour. I think it's a bit more like Payne's, a dark Payne's grey. Because I like the blacks, what I might do over the next week or so is maybe even just do a demonstration on using just the midnight in a black and white sort of painting, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm just going to dry this off and we'll see how this looks. Just going to take these edges off. Now if you do have trouble with your tape sticking, just a handy hint, if you're using a heat gun, just run the heat gun along the tape and that'll make it easier to lift. But what I do is actually I also keep reusing my tape until it's no longer effective basically, and each time it just takes a little bit of that stickiness off, so while it's giving me that nice white edge, it's not actually then damaging the paper. So you can see there, just capturing the gorgeous shimmer of the Shimmer Dust. So Colour Blast have actually got a good range of the Shimmer Dust. Tania, I believe, has most of them at her store, so you can check that out as well. So they have been quite versatile. Initially they were made for like a scrapbooking embellishment, putting it down before you actually put photos etc. down on your page. I like stepping outside the square just a little bit and actually using them more as a watercolour. I think they've been quite versatile. I'm actually going to add that page we've just done into my journal. On the white paper it just looked a bit stark, so this is actually watercolour paper that I've used it on. This is, you can see that didn't really want to use the ink again in the book, it just bleeds through a little bit. So I've put, using the Faber-Castell Big Pick pen, just an edge around that to highlight it. And I'm just going to put some just paper print down just to give a little bit of background, and we'll put that over top. So I'll speed this part up. So I'm just going to use a double-sided tape to put this image in. Use one of the roller strips would be far easier, but I just find the tape is versatile for me with what I want to do and where I want to put it at times. Probably does take a little bit more fiddling around, but that's okay. I don't mind. Putting today's date down. Okay, I hope everyone likes that. I'll catch you around soon. Thanks for watching.